Despite what the PVM sweatlords might tell you, you don't need perfect gear to kill bosses in old school RuneScape. You don't need max stats, you don't need a scythe, you don't even need a fang. You can get by with a much more humble setup. If you're firmly in the mid game, or you're a broke high level main, scared to dip your toes into PVM, I'm going to show you how to make big bank with mega budget gear across all three combat styles. And when I say budget, I mean it. All of these setups are literally cheaper than a bond. Not that I'm suggesting you spend your real money on them. And no, I'm not going to be a douchebag and just tell you to grind out full void. Yes, it's free. Yes, it's good. But it takes time, and time is money. These setups are designed for mid-game bossing, slayer moneymakers, and even casual raiding if you've got the skills. I'll give you honest recommendations, a few quick upgrade options, and most importantly, I'll be proving that you don't need to spend 100 mil plus on a single item to boss efficiently. Before we jump into gear, you need to understand what makes a weapon or armor piece actually good. I want you to make informed choices, not just follow my YouTube list blindly. Let's touch on some stats and gear theory. When you're picking gear, you need to understand the 4 basic stat types. Accuracy bonuses help you not hit zeros. Strength bonuses boost your max hit. Defensive bonuses help bosses hit zeros on you. Prayer bonuses slow your prayer drain. All of these depend on your combat style, so melee has stab, slash and crush, ranged has ranged accuracy, magic has magic accuracy, and each one also has a damage and defensive boosting stat. So how do you prioritize all of this? Well, here's the no fluff breakdown. Defensive stats, mostly useless. You're praying against attacks anyway. If you're praying properly, then you'll only ever get hit for zeros or for minor chip damage. Accuracy, somewhat useful. You need to land hits to do damage, but accuracy is already pretty high on most modern gear, and there are plenty of enemy defense reducing options in the game. We'll talk about some of these a bit later. Strength bonus is the absolute king. An extra max hit usually does more for your DPS than almost anything else. The more damage you do, the quicker you kill the enemy, the less likely you are to die, regardless of defensive bonuses. Prayer bonus is situational, great for places where you're praying constantly and want longer trips without flicking. Let me show you what I mean. Let's compare the fighter torso and the bando's chest plate. I've got the stats up on screen now. Bando's has much better defense. Is it worth 30 million GP? Absolutely not. Compare that again against Torva and Oathplate. If you can afford this, you're way better than me at the game, and you're probably watching someone a lot more skilled tell you how to play the game. So with that foundation, let's build out some actual loadouts that you can use at real bosses, starting with melee. Melee is your bread and butter for a lot of mid-game content. For your helmet, I'd go for the Neat is No Helm. It's free from the Fremennik Isles and an absolute no-brainer. Just do the quest. For your body, the fighter torso, it's ugly, it's a bit of a grind, but it does slap. Literally the best strength bonus you're going to get without dropping millions. If you are seriously allergic to Barbarian Assault, the Obsidian Plate body is the next best thing. For your legs, match that up with the Obsidian Plate legs, no question. For your boots, Dragon boots are cheap as chips and the second best melee boots in the game. Gloves, the best gloves from Recipe Disaster that you have. If you don't have rune gloves or higher, go for a combat bracelet. For your cape, wear a fire cape if you've got it. If not, an Obby cloak will do too. But just know that if you're over 100 combat, everybody is judging you. For the neck slot, an Amulet of Glory or Splash Out for a Fury. Both of these are viable options for all three styles actually. Weapons for melee are a bit weird, they're kind of situational. You've got stab, slash and crush, and depending on your enemy's weakness, you may want to change it up. A whip on slash is decent, for stab the Abyssal Dagger is cheap and solid, for crush the Glacial Tomotlis are surprisingly decent for the price, and yet, nobody knows how to pronounce them. For your shield slot, if you're using a one-handed weapon, get the Dragon Defender. It's free, and if you're watching this guide, you probably can't afford an Avernic Defender, which is the only better option. If you want to look into some optional spec weapons, a Dragon Dagger is still the budget DPS king. It's cheap and dirty, but it does get the job done. And if you want something underrated, little known, that lowers defense, check out the Bone Dagger. It's a weird one, but it does work. If you want something that works for both melee and ranged, Mixed Hide Armor has surprisingly good offensive bonuses for the price. Talking about ranged armor, that's next on our list. For your helmet, the only good budget ranger option is the Archer Helm, so just stick with that. For your body, Black Dragon Hide, cheap, no requirements, and honestly, still one of the most used ranged pieces in the whole game after all this time. For your legs, you'll want Black Dragon Hide as well. You can upgrade these to Carol's or God Dragon Hide if you've got the cash. For your boots, God Dragon Hide boots are the best budget option in your preferred colour, or if you're not as style conscious, the cheapest available pair. Again, Barrow's gloves if you've got them, or a combat bracelet if not. Regular black dragonhide van braces or god dragonhide braces are an option too. Your back slot is non-negotiable, the best AVAS device you have. Please do not forget this. If you show up to a boss without AVAS on your back and you're in my group, I will pick up your expensive ammunition from the floor regardless of your Iron Man status. For your amulet, same as melee, the glory's fine, and if you can afford a fury, that's a little better. But ranged with your weapon, you've got two concerns, the weapon and ammunition. A rune or dragon crossbow is pretty decent, especially with enchanted bolts. Ruby bolts can hit up to 100 on some buses, and dragon bolts are super accurate. For stuff with low defense, a magic shortbow with rune arrows is half decent. If you do go with the one-handed crossbow in your shield slot item, a Book of Lore or God Dragonhide shield are your best options. The book is infinitely cooler though, so that's what I'd stick with. For your spec weapon, for a little bit of extra damage, you could go for a magic shortbow imbued, but to be honest, I wouldn't bring one. There are no particularly useful ranged weapons in the budget PVM space that I'm aware of, but feel free to educate me in the comments below. If you've got a bit of extra cash, an awesome option is the Eclipse Moon armor set with the Eclipse Atlatl. If you're going to do this though, you'll need to swap out the rest of the range gear that you've got for your best strength boosting gear that you have, as the Atlatl is a super niche item that rolls off of your melee strength even though it's a ranged weapon. With the full Eclipse set, you've got a 20% chance to burn damage your target, which is a handy bit of extra DPS. Magic is a surprisingly cheap option to get started with, however the cost of runes can be a concern. It does unlock some important PVM mechanics like freezing and healing spells on the ancient spellbook. For your helmet, blood bark. For your body, blood bark. For your legs, blood bark. For your boots, blood bark. And for your gloves, also blood bark. Do you see a theme here? Blood bark is dirt cheap, has great magic bonuses, and if you've got the full set and you're using blood spells, it gives you a massive boost to your healing abilities. If you're not keen on blood bark for any reason, Mystic is a great budget alternative, and Arms is the pricier option, but still not ridiculous. Barrow's gloves, as always, are an option, and Infinity boots are also a reasonable, affordable option. For your cape, a god cloak is okay, but I'd strongly recommend doing Mage Arena 2 for the best in-slot imbued cape, completely free, unless you get PK'd in the process. For your amulet, glory again. See a theme? The occult necklace though is a massive upgrade for very little cost, so if you've got an extra 400 to 500k lying around, grab one for sure. A weapon for versatility, a battle staff of your chosen spell type is passable. The real MVP though is the Twin Flame Staff. It automatically casts the element you need, taking advantage of the recent and upcoming elemental weakness changes. Failing that, a Trident of the Seas is dirt cheap and gets better the higher your magic level. For your shield slot, a Book of Darkness for the same reasons as the Book of Lore. It's cheap, it's half decent, and it's iconic to be honest. The other concern with magic is what spellbook you're going to use. I'd advise sticking to standard spells for budget content unless you're bursting or barraging on ancients and need that freeze or heal. Playing around with Thralls or Vengeance is fun and useful for high level content and more niche stuff, but it can get pretty sweaty. A final magic tip. Magic damage boost really is the king as it's percentage based. If you can upgrade an item that gives you a boost in this stat, such as the occult necklace, absolutely do so. It's the best way to make your existing spells hit that little bit harder. Some final tips for all three styles. Always bring your best gear available. This guide assumes you're broke, but if you've got that berserker ring, archer ring, occult necklace, plug it in. Hybrid setups are totally viable. Mixed hide for range and melee, or using a glory across all three styles will save you swaps and make your life that little bit easier. The Blue Moon and Eclipse Moon armor sets, as well as mixed hide, are particularly good hybrid setups. So there you go, real budget setups that actually works, and yeah, I did mean budget. If you take one thing away from this, it's that stats are way more important than price tag. A 100k piece of gear with the right bonuses is more valuable than a 20mm flex item that doesn't suit your setup or has stats in the wrong places. On top of this, your character's stats have way more impact on your performance than your gear, and your ability to learn the mechanics is even more important than that. When you know which stats matter and how to balance them out, you can build setups that work for you and your playstyle, not just trying to emulate some max streamer with a twisted bow, never taking damage because he's one tick flicking every single monster in the Inferno. If you found this helpful, like the video and drop me a comment, especially if you got some spicy budget gear hot takes that I've missed, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. If you want to see these setups in action, I've got boss guides that show exactly how far budget kit like this can take you. If you need any help with PVM content, check out the Discord for an awesome little community that we've got going, and if you want to catch me massively failing at becoming an OSRS Grandmaster, check me out on Twitch. Slow and steady wins the race, we'll get there eventually. Before I dip out, a big shout out to my channel members, Chizomni, Omega0240, Matt J, and Bad Trip World. Absolute legends, all of you. That's it from me, thanks for sticking around, I'll see you next time.